Welcome to Your Five-Letter Word. I'm your host, Christina, and in each episode, we explore how intentional communication and a strong mindset can transform your business, your relationships, and your personal growth. Whether we're covering communication strategies or sharing tips to shift your mindset, this podcast will help you learn to create more meaningful conversations in your life so that you can deepen your relationships and grow your business. So sit back, relax, and soak in the insights as we dive into today's conversation. Welcome. So excited to have you here. On today's episode, I thought we'd talk a little bit more about mindset, the importance of resilience, but also the importance of perseverance. So, communication, it's one of those things that I truly believe is really quite foundational. It's quite everywhere. It's a part of everything that we do, whether you know it or not. It's in the way that you speak to your friends, your family, in your relationships, definitely in the way that you interact at work, in your business, any potential clients, prospective partnerships, the way that you speak in class, if you're still a student, if you're still in school. But beyond the physical act of speaking, communication is also the way that you show up. It's the way that you present yourself. It's the energy in which you carry yourself. Do you walk into a room and avoid eye contact with everyone? Are you dressed in a way that is uncomfortable? And so it's making you want to shrink a little bit more in your own skin. It's making you want to be in the back because you don't feel good. So you don't show up feeling good, right? It's everywhere and in everything, in the way that we speak, in the way that we act, in the way that we show up. Keeping that in mind, where does resilience and perseverance come in, right? For me, resilience and perseverance is really quite an interesting topic because it's something that is not quite taught to most of us, and it's something that we have to figure out how to develop on our own, especially in those really difficult moments that we all experience in life. Now, everybody experiences difficult moments. Everyone experiences challenges. But everyone's challenges are a little bit different. And some face challenges that are a little bit harder and a little bit more challenging than others. And that's okay. And that's okay. But here's the thing. I strongly believe that resilience and perseverance are skills that we need to develop within ourselves through the way that we approach our day-to-day decisions. Now, what I'm really saying is, first of all, this is a skill that we can develop in the way that we react to small challenges or small daily stresses that show up in our life. This can mean, a traffic jam on your way to work, an unexpected delay. It could be some sort of miscommunication, frustration, someone else placing blame at work. It could be you grocery shopping and someone having a bad day and taking that out on you. A complete stranger being rude to you for no reason. Different challenges come up throughout our day. But it's how do we respond to them that really starts to develop our resilience and perseverance. From my experience, a lot of people who talk about resilience talk about it in the sense of, here was this major traumatic event, here was this major challenge, and pushing myself through it is what really taught me resilience. And I agree that all of those major events in our lives are a phenomenal opportunity to teach ourselves resilience. But at the same time, it's almost a wasted opportunity to let the daily stresses pass you by without using them as a way to learn and grow and improve. It feels a little silly saying that. Like, I can imagine myself frustrated in a traffic jam, as I have been many times. And it seems silly to be like, hey, this is a great opportunity to teach myself resilience. But it is. Because if we're able to teach ourselves and train ourselves to be more resilient in the face of small stresses, that starts to build the resilience muscle. By the time a bigger, more stressful event comes around, your resilience muscle is a little bit stronger. It makes it a little bit easier to handle that major event, right? Do you see where I'm going with this? If you're an individual who has a very hard time adapting to change, dealing with unexpected change, dealing with small stresses that come up during the day, it will make it that much harder to deal with the big ones. So that's the first food for thought that we'll put on the back burner for now. Now, when it comes to perseverance is a really interesting topic that I'd like to dive into with you. I feel like perseverance and resilience are a little bit different, very similar, but different. For me, when I think of perseverance, I think of it as the internal drive to continue, the internal drive to push yourself, to keep going. Now, many of us, if not most of us, are not born with perseverance. It's that internal hunger that we have to develop within ourselves when we work towards our goals, our desires, whatever it is that we'd like to achieve. It's not easy. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy. But I fundamentally believe that it is one of the most crucial skills that we need to develop within ourselves because it will serve us in every single other area of our life. Now, for me, what comes to mind with perseverance is really cross-country running and long-distance running. So when I was quite young, I'm not sure, maybe 8, 9, by the time I was 10 for sure, my dad would really push me to go on these long 5 to 10K runs with him every weekend. And it was hard. It was hard. And I did not want to do it. And my dad had a very strong, tough love approach. And I would just get so annoyed. We would go to the stadium, we would go to the track, and we would run those laps nonstop again and again and again until we had hit that 5K or whatever we were doing that day. And when I was tired and I wanted to give up and I wanted to walk, my dad would use that opportunity to run beside me, lecturing me the entire time. And I wasn't allowed to walk. I had to jog slowly. If I really needed a break, I had to jog slowly. But I was not allowed to stop. I had to keep going until I had run the entire distance. Now, as a kid, I used to get so mad. I used to get so annoyed. I was not a fan of my dad during those times. But looking back on it, I can see how much perseverance it taught me. It is a skill that I now use in so many other areas of my life. Running with him, not only was I learning how to push myself to keep going, to keep pushing the boundary of what I thought my edge was, but on top of that, I had to learn how to persevere and keep going and keep pushing myself and keep finding that internal motivation while being incredibly annoyed and frustrated and, quite frankly, tired in the moment as my dad is lecturing me and I'm trying to run. It sounds funny to talk about it now, but it was a wonderful experience that I look back on quite fondly. From experiences like that, from moments where when I would finish the run and I would end, and a couple hours later, I had showered, I had ate, I had watched TV and relaxed, but I felt great. And more importantly, I knew that I had accomplished my goal. So next weekend, when I had to run with him again, even though I didn't want to, or even though I was getting tired in the moment, I knew that I'd be able to accomplish it and I'd be able to finish it. And over time, it just got easier and easier to the point where I didn't need my dad pushing me to run that 5K. I gladly went out and did it on my own as a form of stress release when I was, by the time I was a teenager. But it's one of those things where I took that in the realm of sports, in the realm of, working out individually, and I started to apply that to everything I was doing. When I was in school getting my undergraduate degree, I had so many late nights where I was juggling 5 or 6 different courses at the same time, different deadlines, different assignments, different essays, and I would finish them all on time. Why? Because I knew that I can push myself, and I knew that I was capable, and I knew that just because something is hard doesn't mean we have to give up on it. Lots of things are hard, but everything worth doing is going to be hard to get to it, right? Let me say that another way. If something is easy, and if something is easy for a long time, we start to lose interest. We don't enjoy it as much anymore. When something is difficult, when something challenges us, when something takes effort to achieve, it is that much more worthwhile for us in the end. It pushes us, it teaches us, it helps us grow, it helps us feel accomplished once we've finally, achieved it and got to it. But more importantly, the process of going through that, the process of learning to persevere and continue through the challenges and build that resilience to deal with the stress and the fatigue and the burnout that might come up as you're going through and working towards your goal, that starts to change you. Because for most of us, once we've done it once, we can see that we can do it, which helps us do it a second time, which then helps you do it a third time. By the fourth time, it's a little bit easier. It's noticeably easier. By the fifth time, well, now you're taking on a project that's much more difficult than the first one was. And that's the beauty in it. Because most of us, if not all of us, have goals, have dreams, have desires that are bigger than what we're doing now. And the only way to get there, and the only way to handle the process until we get there, is to build that resilience and perseverance within ourselves. Because other people can support you and other people can help you, but other people can't do it for you. As much as you might have supportive family or friends, supportive loved ones, a supportive community around you who might be cheering for you, they're not going to run the race for you. They're not going to hold your hand through the process to get you to where you want to be. And on the odd chance that they do, when you finally accomplish that thing with your hand held the entire time, it won't be nearly as satisfying. So, any goal that you have in mind, anything that you're working towards, any dream that you have, this is your reminder that the effort will be worth it, that you are capable of growing and maturing and developing the skills and the traits that you need to achieve those things. Now, tying this back into communication a little bit more. Communication is tricky for many of us. We're taught to speak by our parents primarily, then by our teachers, our guardians, our if we go to daycare, to school, whoever is around us as a teacher and mentor in young age, they pass their communication style onto us. And that is what we are sort of ingrained with, and that becomes our default, that becomes our norm throughout childhood, and in most cases, into young adulthood. We're influenced by the things that we consume, so the shows that we watch, the music that we listen to, the neighborhood that we grow up in, the friends and the individuals that we interact with. Whatever communication style, and we'll call it style, format, type, what we're exposed to is what we start to normalize, and that's the level that we tend to stay at. Now, don't let that scare you, because that's actually a good thing. Understanding that is a good thing, because what it really means is that you have been taught what you know about communication, but communication is a skill, and it's a skill that you can work on and improve. And just like most other things, once you know what you need to work on and what you need to improve on, that's what you do, and that's how you get better. Let's use the example of someone who is working out or someone who's going to the gym for the first time. Whatever they know up until that point is what they know. They might have very little experience with working out. They might have no idea how to use any of the equipment, or they might know how to use some of the equipment, but not all of it. And that's fine, because that's the baseline and that's the starting point. And if they were to continue with that knowledge for the rest of their life, I'm sure there's still ways that they can become a healthier, fitter version of themselves. But if they invested in a personal trainer and learned how to use the machines properly and learned how to use the equipment and learned how to target different, perhaps, areas, how to structure their workout plan, if they learned all of these things to improve the efficiency and the effectiveness of their workout, how much faster do you think they would see the progress? It's the exact same thing for your communication. Now, just like working out, the process, going through it, the practice, the showing up, the doing the work, that gets challenging. That gets hard. It can get demotivating. But that's where your perseverance and your resilience comes into play. Understanding that strong communication skills, being a good communicator, being able to speak to other people, being able to network, being able to show up and share your ideas, these are skills that will help you in your life. So as challenging as it may be to put in the work and to practice and to put yourself out there those first few times, the payoff will be worth it. And if you're able to push through the self-doubt, if you're able to push through the fatigue and the need to practice again and again and again and again before you might see any sort of results, if you're able to push yourself through it and develop that perseverance, you will see a payoff. If you're able to push through the hard days and the bad days and any failures you experience along the way, you'll build up that resilience and you will see success and progress. You are capable of changing, and you are capable of progressing, and you are capable of putting in the work and the practice and the reps to see the progress that you want, because you know that the payoff will be worth it. So I'm going to encourage you to let that sink in, just reflect on it, think about it, and come up with a list of 5 to 10 different ways that you can really start to build up the resilience and the perseverance in yourself to push yourself to work towards your goals. Now, as an example, If you're someone who would really like to be able to present because it is a necessity to present at work, or you're someone who has to speak to perhaps prospective clients quite a bit, and so you'd like that confidence to be able to present well in front of them, my challenge to you is to start recording a daily video of yourself speaking for 2 whole minutes about something that you would in your presentation or your meeting. Mimic the environment. Mimic that environment for yourself and just practice. Put those reps in. Record a video for 2 minutes every day and pick one thing to work on so that you can progress and see the improvement. If you're someone who uses a lot of filler words, if you say, so, well, like, so, you get the point. If that's you, start working on the filler words before you focus on anything else. If you're someone who's super stiff or you use way too many hand gestures, work on that one aspect until that becomes easy, and then pick something else. But it's going to take the work and it's going to take the reps and the perseverance to see the progress. Now, to wrap up this episode, your 5-letter word for today is start. Just start. Just begin. Just get going. Your goals are waiting for you. Your dreams are waiting for you. And they're not going anywhere until you get to them. So pick one thing and just start. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for listening. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was from this episode. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Instagram, and you can check the description for all the places you can contact me. I love hearing from you, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye.